Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking on a universally dreaded opponent,
Oh, I know this one.
administrative bureaucracy. Specifically, the maze you used to have to navigate just to establish a new company.
And the listener shared some really fascinating sources on this, detailing a radical simplification, a complete overhaul of the process, really spearheaded by the innovations at ModerniPravnik.cz.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to understand exactly how they took a procedure that was, frankly, an administrative marathon.
A marathon is a good word for it.
And just broke it down and reassembled it into this powerful, streamlined online experience. And we're not talking about just, putting old forms on a website.
No, this is a structural redesign of the compliance path itself.
And that redesign is exactly what the learner persona needs. The old system was the definition of information overload.
Action paralysis. An entrepreneur didn't just have to fill out forms. They were constantly trying to solve this riddle of, okay, what else is needed? When do I do it? In what order? This innovation just removes that uncertainty. It replaces it with a clear, predictable process.
And that uncertainty had a real cost. Because before all this, if you wanted to start a business, you had to face this one number. 14. 14 distinct steps. We're talking multiple institutions, offices, banks, notaries. 14 mandatory steps. So this deep dive is really about the shortcut that avoids that entire painful gauntlet.
It's all about eliminating friction at every single touch point.
So let's start by just visualizing that friction. Let's walk through the administrative gauntlet. What were those old 14 steps the entrepreneur had to do themselves?
Well, it all started with the self-discovery phase, which was friction right from the very beginning.
Okay.
You had to first verify the availability of your proposed company name. Sounds simple, but you had to dive into registries and legal rules all by yourself.
And then came the real administrative hurdle.
The trade licenses, the żywności. You had to figure out which specific ones your business model required.
So if you wanted to, say, sell T-shirts, but also do some consulting on the side, suddenly you're trying to navigate 2 or 3 different classes of licenses.
Exactly. Which requires either real legal expertise or just, massive amounts of your own time researching.
Time you don't have as a founder.
And the cost friction started early, too. It was an immediate barrier. After the research, you had to start the price discovery process.
So just calling around.
Pretty much. Comparing offers from lawyers or other services, booking consultations just to get a quote that, might not even be accurate in the end.
That's time wasted just trying to get an answer. And then came the sheer inefficiency of actually getting started.
Right. You often had to book an in-person appointment or send a bunch of emails just to get a simple questionnaire.
It's like scheduling a meeting just to get the agenda for the real meeting.
Exactly. But the biggest source of stress, I think, was the unexpected cost shock, especially at the notary.
What do you mean?
The sources really highlight this. You'd have your initial consultation, sign the notarial record, but then you'd find yourself sitting in the notary's office and the price would suddenly change.
While you're there. Why?
Because maybe you decided to increase the capital amount or you added a partner. Any small change could shift the price and you wouldn't know until the last minute. The lack of certainty was paralyzing.
I can imagine. And even if you survived that, you then had all the physical burdens, the running around.
Oh, the running around. The registered office, the SIDLO, was a huge pain point.
So you had to find a provider, deal with contracts.
And here's the killer logistical nightmare. You then had to physically go to the post office with the property owner.
With the owner.
With the owner to get an officially verified signature consenting to you using that address.
Wow. Just think about that coordination. You're a new entrepreneur, you're busy, you're trying to line up your schedule with a property owner you barely know.
And you both have to stand in line at the post office. Just to prove a signature on a piece of paper is real, that's pure administrative weight.
And then the bank. The basic capital requirement.
2 separate mandatory visits.
2.
Yep, 1 trip to deposit the capital into a temporary account, and then a second trip, usually a few days later, just to pick up the confirmation of payment.
So you're waiting in line twice for the same requirement.
Plus the waiting time for the confirmation to even process. And after all that, you had to go back to the notary with that bank confirmation in hand to finalize everything.
Because the company doesn't legally exist until it's in the commercial register.
Exactly. And even after all that, the bank, the notary, the property owner, you still had this final bureaucratic checklist.
Right. Waiting for the actual entry in the register, then applying for the trade license, registering for corporate income tax.
And crucially, ensuring you're in the register of beneficial owners, which you absolutely need to do things like, open your real operating bank account.
So if you connect all this back, the biggest obstacle wasn't necessarily one single rule.
No, it was the total lack of coordination and the constant risk of unexpected costs or delays. The client, the entrepreneur, was forced to be the project manager for their own compliance.
And that is precisely the burden. ModerniPravnik.cz wanted to just delegate away entirely. It's a perfect example of how poor process design can kill startup momentum.
Absolutely.
But now, let's turn the page and see how they actually fixed it. Here's where it gets really interesting.
They started by automating those first discovery phases, getting rid of that need for the entrepreneur to be a self-taught legal researcher.
Exactly. The old way, you were searching for name availability yourself. Now, it's direct online verification right in the form.
Simple.
But the real ingenuity is with the trade licenses.
Huh.
The client just has to describe, in plain language, what they want to do.
Like, I want to sell custom apparel and offer coaching services.
Right. And the service figures out the specific licenses needed. It removes all that guesswork.
It makes the information actionable instantly. And they immediately got rid of those notorious price surprises we talked about.
This part is genius. The expected price is visible up front, right in the online form, and it adjusts automatically, in real time.
So if you increase your registered capital,
The price changes instantly on the screen to reflect the higher notarial fees. You add a second partner, boom, the price adjusts. Certainty about the final cost is built in before you ever commit.
and that certainty is invaluable for an entrepreneur who's budgeting every cent.
And this automation also completely streamlined the intake process. No more chasing down questionnaires.
Right, they flipped the whole consultation model.
The need for a mandatory office appointment just to get a form is gone. The form is online. You fill it out, you submit it.
And the consultations become so much more efficient. The service calls you if something needs clarification after they've already analyzed your data.
So you're not wasting time in a meeting just figuring out what documents you need to bring to the next meeting.
It's efficiency by proactive preparation.
Okay, that brings us to the next big innovation. The one that eliminated the physical burden. Innovation 2. Bypassing physical logistics.
All that running around.
Yeah, starting with the registered office headache.
A huge time sink. The old way, you're finding a provider, dealing with contracts, and then that mandatory trip to the post office with the owner.
A pure compliance logjam.
It is. So the service fixed that first by offering its own registered office. Transparent price, no negotiation.
But the critical point is they handle the paperwork internally.
Exactly. They handle the required official consent and that verified signature documentation.
Yeah.
That trip to the post office coordinating 3 schedules is just gone.
You never leave your desk for that requirement.
Which is a major time saving. But the true game changer, in terms of pure speed, is how they dealt with the basic capital requirement.
The 2 mandatory bank visits. This is the part that fascinates me most about their legal creativity.
It's elegant, isn't it?
It is. The old way was 2 bank visits, waiting time, on-site fees, then another trip back to the notary.
So the new approach is, well, it's elegant. By advising and handling the legal work for a basic capital of 20,000 Czech crowns, the client can avoid the bank visits entirely.
How's that possible? Is that legal?
It is. They exploited the flexibility in the law. In the Czech Republic, if the capital is below a certain threshold and 20,000 CZK qualifies, the need for a physical deposit at a bank isn't absolutely mandated at that exact moment.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
Instead, the founders provide a specific legal declaration. The service drafts it. It basically states they've deposited the funds into the company's operating account once it's open.
So they're using the law itself to shortcut a mandatory physical process.
Precisely. They replace 2 bank trips and all that waiting time with a single legal document that the service manages for you.
It completely shifts the regulatory burden.
Yes. The law requires confirmation of capital, but they found the compliant legal path that bypasses the need to use a bank as the confirmation mechanism at the time of founding.
And that just perfectly exemplifies their whole goal. They take the bureaucratic pain, the physical trips, the waiting, and shift it onto their automated legal prep.
They trade 1 extra legal document for the client, completely avoiding the bank.
That's intelligent legal structuring.
And that's the real nugget here. Smart innovation isn't just about speed. It's about finding the compliant, shortest path by minimizing the client's interaction with outdated physical requirements.
But this level of delegation does raise a question. I mean, if they're handling everything, creating special documents to bypass steps, doesn't that require a huge amount of trust? You're handing over the keys.
It does require trust, but the process is structured to mitigate that risk. And this leads us right into our final segment, the final delegation and simple reality.
Yeah.
The delegation is all achieved through a single, powerful action from you, the client, signing a power of attorney, a plenum alonc.
And previously, this final sequence was that grinding 5-step closure.
Right. The notary finalization, waiting for the commercial register entry, the trade license application, corporate tax registration, the register of beneficial owners.
All those queues and fees and deadlines?
Now, all of that administrative weight is delegated. The client doesn't manage the timing, the fees, or the forms for the court, the tax office, or the trade license authority. The service handles all of it.
So the power of attorney isn't about ceding control of your business.
Not at all. It's about authorizing them to navigate the administrative landscape for you. They become your official project manager.
And they've optimized the process so they can do it faster and with fewer errors than an individual trying to juggle all those government offices.
Exactly.
So let's bring it all back to the entrepreneur, this complex 14-plus step process.
Involving the founder, the notary, the bank, multiple authorities.
Condensed down into 3 simple actions for the client.
3 actions, all designed to just eliminate that friction.
First, fill out the online form. You set your parameters. You see the price adjust. You know the final cost.
Second, choose your registered office, either your own or theirs. The price is transparent, and that bureaucratic signature hurdle is just gone.
And third, sign the power of attorney.
That's it.
You delegate the pain, and you wait for the company to be legally established.
And the timeline is significant. For most standard cases, the entire company can be set up in about 1 week.
1 week? That's an enormous acceleration compared to the old way, which could drag on for weeks.
Absolutely. Now, the sources do acknowledge that complex cases, concessional trade licenses, foreign partners, sophisticated structures, they will take longer.
Sure, that's unavoidable.
But the core promise remains. By handling all the process management, the service still ensures the shortest path to the goal.
Which brings us back to our core knowledge nugget.
Modern innovation isn't just digitizing old forms. It is redesigning the required compliance path entirely. It's using legal and technological ingenuity to just remove the friction.
And the innovation doesn't stop once the company is founded. The service offers post-founding support under one roof.
Which is key. They handle ongoing legal needs. Contracts, T&Cs, GDPR compliance, employee share schemes.
Investment documents, real estate.
It creates a true end-to-end legal solution. It prevents the entrepreneur from falling right back into the administrative weeds the moment the company is live.
So what does this all mean for you? The simplification of founding a company from 14 steps down to 3 delegated actions is a massive win for entrepreneurs. It proves that so many administrative mountains are built not by legal necessity, but by information barriers and just bad process design.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. If a seemingly mandatory requirement, like physically depositing capital at a bank, can be entirely bypassed through efficient legal structuring.
Like the 20,000 CZK option we discussed.
Right. What other mandatory bureaucratic steps in completely different industries could be similarly optimized or eliminated through intelligent process innovation? What mountains are you climbing simply because no one has yet drawn the shorter, compliant path?
Think about that until next time you join us for the deep dive.